It's your daily dose of Donna. Welcome to the show. Today is Thursday, December 5th, and we are feeling, well, Jewish. We are feeling so spiritual. We are feeling connected to our faith as Meredith does. We have our yarmulkes on, our kippas, and we are feeling, well, let me get Todd in frame here. Todd is feeling mighty pissy. But Meredith is feeling bar mitzvahed. And in the honor and in the spirit of Meredith, I say Baruch atah Adonai to all of you. Welcome to the show. I cannot wait to get into today's episode. An iconic, what an iconic episode of Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. When I tell you, this was like, I want to say you can't produce an episode this good because, they say, oh, these episodes are so produced. You can't even write an episode this good. This was an episode unlike anything else. It was an episode we had everything in it. We had cocktails during a religious event. We had a chariot. We had a bath scene. Okay, we had espresso martinis. We had a Todd scene like no other. We had slut digs. We had dick jokes, not even jokes, dick digs. Okay, we had Karastos being thrown in there. We had people getting thrown out. We had napkin throws. We had security being called in. We had Brooks comforting people outside. It was an episode for the books. I cannot wait to get into it. It was phenomenal. What an incredible episode. So I'm going to take my kippah off. I'm going to put it on Todd because Todd is getting into the religion as well. I wonder if Todd has ever gotten bar mitzvahed. Todd, you stay there. And everyone get cozy. It is your daily dose of Donna. Well, Susan just gave me some crazy news here in the comments saying there was a 7.3 earthquake off the coast of Eureka, California 30 minutes ago. Where is Eureka? How come I didn't feel that? We're in California. 7.3 is crazy strong. Can someone tell me where Eureka is? Is that why my dogs are acting cuckoo? That's kind of shocking that we didn't feel anything. Todd, are you okay? Well, I hope anyone that's in the Eureka area is okay. Northern California. Like how far? Is it like San Francisco? I hope everyone's okay. I hope there wasn't too much damage. They're saying tsunami warnings. You felt it in San Diego. Geez, I didn't feel a thing. Wow. Okay. I hope everyone's okay. Wherever, back to the Weather Channel here on the Doser Network. Al Roker is checking in. I hope you guys are okay. Let's get into today's show because we need to stay calm. We need to have fun. We need to enjoy our lives. We need to like lighten up, right? We're staying light and tight. Got it? Light and tight. How are you guys all doing today? Are we doing well? Are we doing okay? I woke up this morning and I thought about Salt Lake City last night and I said, was that just like a hallucination of just the best episode ever? Mary looking into the window. It was the most amazing episode ever. I loved every single moment of it. I can rewatch that show over and over, that episode. And if you're not watching the after show on these episodes, and I have to admit, I didn't watch the after show of Beverly Hills, but if you're not watching the after shows, I think you're sleeping on some really important little tidbits about these shows. They're giving you some good stuff. So go watch the after shows of these episodes because I think you're going to find out some really interesting things. Oh, quick note. my complaining, and I do believe that I single-handedly changed the course of Peacock and their quality control because Girls Gone Wild documentary is fixed. I did watch the first episode last night. I want to vomit over Joe Francis. And it's actually really interesting. So I'm not naming names, but my husband, obviously, he's a cameraman and he works with a lot of these camera guys who are currently really big camera operators. Some of them work currently on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, all these housewives shows. They're on all the shows that we watch. And he was texting with some of them last night who worked on Girls Gone Wild, who are not interviewed in the documentary because they will never, ever want to put their names out there, that they were part of the show 20 years ago, 25 years ago, when they were in their early 20s. Because why would you ever want to announce that you were part of this show publicly? I mean, I think the camera guys are pretty much a huge part of the problem. If you watch the documentary, they're actually liable. In fact, in the first episode, one of the camera guys actually gets arrested because he's filming underage girls. He says he had no idea they were underage. He asked if they were over 18 and they said they were. And so it's really, really gross. But the point is that he is, we're all congratulating someone. And I just want to make sure. Oh, congratulations, Andrea just had a baby. Mazel tov, mazel tov. Okay, so he was talking to his cameraman friend, and I said, "Do you think he would do my podcast?" And he said, "No way. I would never put my name out there. She can fact check me and talk to me, but I will be anonymous." He got asked to do the documentary. He even got financially offered a good amount of money to do the documentary, and he said no amount of money would ever put my name and my face because he doesn't want to be connected to Girls Gone Wild in any capacity. As I understand, why would you? I mean, to be connected to Girls Gone Wild now, being married with kids and everything, I think would be a pretty bad like stain on your resume. You can only imagine. You can only imagine what that's like. So some of the stories are pretty really, I mean, really, really horrible. Like, so just to give you an idea of what some of the things that you were involved with, like these girls. Imagine you're 16, 17 years old and you're out there, you're on the beach, you're partying at Lake Havasu, okay, with Tamara and Vicki. Every time I think of Lake Havasu, I think of Vicki going, woo, and the football coming in, like hitting her in the face on the boat. And you're partying. And then all of a sudden, you're drinking and some guys come up to you with a camera and they're like, hey, here's $20. Here's $50 if you show us your boobs. You're drunk. And all your friends are like, do it. Let's like get some beer. And you just like simply show boobs. And this is before Girls Gone Wild became Girls Gone Wild. This was just at the very beginning. So you just flash your boobs drunkenly, not thinking anything of it. And you go to school the next year after your summer break or after spring break, you go to school and all of a sudden everyone has seen your face and your boobs because your face is on the cover of the yellow tape of Girls Gone Wild. Like they use your face as the cover picture for Girls Gone Wild. So much so that one of the girls got called into her teacher's office. Can you imagine this? Her teacher's office junior year. And her teacher says to her, hey, pulls out the tape and she thinks she's getting in trouble. And he says, do you mind signing it? Like it's real bad now as an adult looking back. So this stuff ruined these girls' lives for a long time. I mean, one of the girls just didn't go to school for a while because she just was harassed by people. So really, really bad. There's so many bad stories that are coming out of it, but it's only one episode down. So I'm sure it's just going to get worse and worse. Cannot wait to keep watching it. I love this kind of stuff. I will do a full deep dive on Patreon because I imagine it's going to be a little dark. For this show, we like to keep it light and tight. Right, Todd? Right? We don't want the show to become unbecoming of us. We don't talk that way, right, Todd? We don't say those words at these shows. Now, I do kind of miss MTV Spring Break content, which is strange to say. But when I was younger, when I was in high school, I imagine it was like my high school years, I loved MTV Spring Break content. Tell me you guys were with me on this, right? I loved watching all of these just like girls and guys dancing on the beach to all their live performances. And I loved the real world style spring break content. I loved when they did reality TV shows around a group of kids just getting hammered and like hooking up in Panama Beach for 3 days. It was so fun to watch. Like, I would become obsessed with it. Why I guess why did that stop? That whole era of MTV Spring Break was so fun to watch. It was kind of like the first version of Jersey Shore and Floribama or whatever all those shows are. What are the shows? Are there shows like that anymore? It was so fun to watch. It was just so good. Did any of you guys go to any of those MTV Spring Breaks where you would go and just dance your ass off kind of half naked on camera? I'm dying to know if any of you guys went. And if you did, like, we need Camille Grammer to be here because she was one of those girls dancing in the um she was on those shows, not Spring Break, but she was on the dance show. I can't remember what it was called. It was so fun to watch. Floribama Shore, Jersey. It was, I mean, it really was early seasons of Jersey Shore, which was what that was the vibe. But can you imagine if that was your life and then you go back as a mom now with like 4 kids and they're probably all like in religious school, like on Sunday school or whatever, and you're like, don't drink before you turn 21. And then there's video of you just like grinding. Oh my gosh, it's so good. Andrew says it stopped because the beaches started prohibiting filming several drunk incidents, including people falling off balconies. Yeah, I mean, there's only so much you can handle with all those drunk idiots. Like, for sure, Club MTV was the show that Camille was dancing on. That's oh, this is good. Lisa says my thighs wouldn't let me go. Oh, Lisa, your thighs are hot. I can only imagine how gorgeous your thighs are. We all have gorgeous thighs. Let's get into the show, yeah? Before I get into the show, I want to before before we get into the show, I just want to sit here and just chat with you guys for a long time. Yeah? Yeah? What are you guys up to? Ah. Well, okay. I'm just pulling up a couple things. Yeah? Okay. Let's do our microdose of the day. I say that is the good. We've got a lot of microdoses today. We do. Number 1, I bet you guys missed talking about about Blake Lively. Did you guys miss Blake Lively? We haven't talked about Blake Lively in a few weeks. Blake Lively decided she saw too many people talking about Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo and Wicked. She was like, whoa, there's way too much press about people that are not me. I got to get in there. And so all of a sudden, Blake Lively has been showing up. Blake Lively and Ryan Gosling show up at a Wicked screening, and she decided, I got to get myself in there and bring my own Wicked ruby slippers to the Wicked screening with Ryan Reynolds and cast. There is something about Blake Lively. You know, Blake Lively is like Bronwyn to me. She drives me just she drives me nuts. Did I say Gosling? Sorry, guys. Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds. I like Ryan Gosling. Right. I like Ryan Reynolds too. I really like Ryan Reynolds, but I don't like him with Blake Lively. Like, I like him on Wrexham. I like him as a separate character. So it says, Ryan, we're not in Kansas anymore. Blake Lively attended a screening of Wicked in New York City last night, dressing on theme in ruby red slippers. The fact that they're still doing Wicked screenings, like, Wicked's been out for 4 years already. How are we still doing screenings? The Gossip Girl went for a high fashion twist on the footwear, choosing a statement-making rhinestone-covered platform, which the designer specifically by Marc Jacobs, which the designer specifically made as a part of the Wizard of Oz capsule collection. She also wear them with blue socks. They look like they literally look like giants next to Ariana and Cynthia. You guys, look at this picture. Giants. They look like their parents. How crazy is that? Look how small Ariana and Cynthia are next to Blake and Ryan. That is so strange looking. She really should not have worn those huge shoes next to them. Actually, this may be even stranger. Why is Ryan so big now? Something is like really off with the perspectives in these pictures. Ryan is double Blake size now in this picture. God, they bug. Well, she bugs. Um, I know they're desperately trying to just like rehab her image after the It Ends With Us press, like the whole press around that movie. But I still think she needs to just stay quiet for like about 6 more months. I also saw an article because you know how he's best friends with Hugh Jackman, and he and Hugh really have been tight through this last year through Deadpool Wolverine. And apparently, because Hugh Jackman has gone through this whole separation with his wife, Deb, I want to say her name was. And now he's dating Sutton Foster. And allegedly, he's had this affair with Sutton Foster, who is his co star on stage. And she also was married, and now she's divorcing her husband. Allegedly, the story is that Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds have known about this because they're so close with Hugh Jackman. So, like, it's also giving yucky feelings for me that Blake Lively and Hugh Jackman have Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds have just like been holding on to the secret that Hugh Jackman has been cheating on his wife for all this time. There's just like bad vibes. I don't know. I get bad vibes from Blake. I also saw an article about Justin Baldoni that got sent to me this morning that also gave me weird vibes, but I'm not going to go there. If you saw it on People Magazine today, I'll just read you guys the headline just because I thought it was kind of a interesting headline, but I'm not going to go into it because I don't want to go there. But this is the headline. Justin Baldoni, if you remember, he was the co-star on It Ends With Us and the director, and they had the big beef between Blake Lively. On People Magazine, it says Justin Baldoni reveals he was sexually traumatized by an ex-girlfriend when he was hoping to save himself for marriage. Let's hold space. Okay. On to the next story. Joey Lawrence. I bet a lot of you 90s kids, 80s kids were dying to know what happened to Joey Lawrence and his wife. Do you guys remember that big story when Joey Lawrence and his ex or his wife had this big falling out? He's cheating on me. She's cheating on me. We're having this fall. They're lying. They're dating. They're not dating. We're broken up. No, we're not broken. It was like this big drama where they were throwing each other under the bus. They were all over social media. They were like basically calling each other out as being cheaters and whatever. It was like a whole thing. Well, not anymore. They're back together. Everything's fine. They're totally fine. Pretend it never happened. Okay, Joey Lawrence and wife Samantha Cope reconcile 4 months after she filed for divorce over affair rumors. Okay. The Blossom alum shared a slideshow on Instagram Wednesday that featured photos of the pair from the premiere of their new holiday flick, Merry Christmas. But it's not spelled Mary. It's spelled Marry, like married, right? The rom-com also stars his brothers Matthew Lawrence, Andrew Lawrence, and their mom, Donna Lawrence. Not me, Donna. Makes an appearance as well. Joey's post showed him and Cope happily posing on the red carpet together in one photo, kissing in another with the words, "My forever after," written over it. Yeah, okay. Yeah, we're good, guys. Nothing to see here. We're good. Don't worry about all those affair rumors that I put out there. We're good. Nothing to see here. Just press. Nothing to see here. He wrote in his caption, "I am beyond grateful. I am beyond blessed. I am galaxies beyond thankful. My heart is so full." She wrote in the comments section, "Love you." And earlier this week, she shared a series of behind the scenes pics from when they all appear to have a good time making the movie. Okay, forget everything that we put you through a few months ago when we called each other cheating hoe bags. Tearful Instagram videos, cheating accusations, filing for divorce, calling out their physical custody over their daughter. I mean, there's not even an explanation. Hey, listen, look, we got some wrong information. We're so sorry about like putting you through all this. It wasn't true. Like, is this how normal people act? It's strange that they didn't even explain it. It feels like, I don't know. It feels desperado, to be honest, right? Okay, a third little microdose of the day. Do you like these little microdoses? Are you guys feeling it? I thought this was an interesting one. Ali Shapiro, Jill Zarin's daughter, is now dating, right? Because she's newly single. Because as we know, she remember I was like the first podcast or blogger or whatever to kind of like pick up on the fact that she was possibly single because one of the dosers saw a TikTok and was like, I'm sensing single here. And yes, she is now single and she's dating. And Ali Shapiro was spotted on a date with Love is Blind art dealer Leo. If you watched this last season, Love is Blind, do you guys remember Leo? He was the one that talked about constantly in the first few episodes of Love is Blind. I'm rich. I'm rich. I'm rich. I've got money. I've got money. He ended up going between Hannah, that was the girl that was like, Nick, Nick, Nick. And the other girl, Brittany, he ended up choosing Brittany, going to Miami because they never ended up going to Mexico. And then they ended up breaking up. And he had some weird, like crazy season, but then he actually seemed pretty nice at the reunion. And he was at the Page Six virtual reality live panel the other day. Seems like a nice guy, actually. We know he's Jewish, which Jill Zarin will be very happy about. And apparently they went on a date the other day. He's an art dealer. And as we previously reported, this is according to Page Six, Ali Shapiro had broken up with VaynerMedia director Jordan Belfield in October. And now they spotted her on the town with Leo at Soho House, Miami during Art Basel? Basel. Is that what we say? On Tuesday night. They also hit the festival's main art sale floor together. Listen, he's in the art business. I think it's kind of a cute little relationship. Don't you guys think? So they remounted the love horse together, it seems. His family has been in the art business for some time. They both have this kind of like family business situation. Shapiro is also the heir to her mother's blue chip reality TV legacy. She's an art history graduate. I kind of like this idea. Is anyone into it? Jennifer says, I smell matchmaking from Jill. And so do I. I feel like Jill Zarin's all over this one. Allie, I want you to meet this guy, Leo. He's cute. I feel like it works really well. Griff the Goat says, dude, Donna, your episode yesterday was hilarious. When you were reviewing the Beverly Hills Real Housewives and the Kyle stuff, I was laughing so hard, my stomach hurt. You guys, I'm telling you right now, I truly have no idea what I say half the time I say these things. And then I got so many DMs and texts last night that I said, Mauricio moved out of the house and Morgan moved out of Kyle's vagina. And I said, I cannot believe I say these things out loud. But I stand by it. I mean, I'm shocked by it, but I stand by it. I really do. Like, I'm nothing if not blunt, right? Final microdose of the day is Nick Lachey and Jessica Simpson. I find this kind of interesting. Wouldn't that be the most crazy turn of events if Nick Lachey and Jessica Simpson ended up together after all of these years? It would be Ben and Jen style, right? Nick Lachey makes a rare comment on his marriage to Jessica Simpson on the show The Ultimatum. He basically admitted his divorce from Jessica Simpson left him with scars. And then he sang about it, apparently, allegedly. He opened up about his 2006 split. It's been almost 20 years since they split. While talking to a contestant about their fear of marriage. By the way, it just got released, I guess, yesterday, The Ultimatum on Netflix. Is anyone watching that? Do we watch that? Do we watch it? While talking to a contestant about their fear of marriage, he said, I too was previously married, divorced, so I understand the hurt, the scars that exist from that. Nick had explained he had to put his fears aside and ultimately decide to marry his now wife, Vanessa Lachey, in July. Don't let your past define your future, he said per E! News. What I truly always wanted in my life which was to have a beautiful marriage and a beautiful family. If I hadn't retained my belief in that, I wouldn't have ever realized the beautiful life I have with this woman. Well, look, This doesn't really actually give any sort of like feeling that he misses Jessica or loves on Jessica. I don't actually get the feeling about that. But it's actually kind of cute. He did say he has been it is actually very cute. I think that look, everything happens for a reason. Nick and Vanessa, strangely enough, they're both so cheesy that I think they actually work. And like I said, I have mutual friends with them, like that go to school with them. And apparently they're really cute and like normal. Like they just actually work. I do think that that comment got Vanessa pissed off at him though. Somehow I do feel like Vanessa yelled at him somehow for this comment. Now, what's funny about this is that, I mean, look how cute they were though. Look how cute Nick and Vanessa used to be. So cute. I mean, not Nick and Vanessa. Uh-oh. Nick and Jessica. But also look how cute Nick and Vanessa used to be. Nick and Vanessa, what a trip. Okay. That is the microdose. Oh no, one last microdose. And then we're going to move into our recap. This is the best clapback of Vicki Gunvalson. She did a great job. As we know, she was so rude to Nick Viall. Look, I have a sense of humor over this stuff. I didn't take it personally. I talked to a couple other podcasters who were like, this is so rude. I would have lost my mind if Vicki did this to me. I think she's so mean. She's so awful. I think it's hilarious. I do not take this personally. And I don't think Nick Viall took it personally at all. I don't think he was pissed at all. But she handled it in the best possible way. She released an Instagram reel where she tagged Nick. She actually collaborated with Nick and his show, and it was so perfect. I'll play it for you guys right here. It's the best idea for Nikki. Well, that's Nick and Vicki together, so that's cute. For Vicki to laugh at herself. This is the way you handle a public gaffe. If you mess up and you do something like this where you come off acting like a bitch, you laugh at yourself. This is the only way to handle it. Rather than getting like offensive or defensive and rude about it, you laugh at yourself and you say, yeah, I was a bitch or I acted stupid. Here you go. Let's watch it together. And you guys can tell me what you think about it, but I think it's cute. And honestly, I think it actually is very good for her image that she did it.
Owe me on this one.
We owe you.
Got my 400 meetings today. Well, just because I'm doing this and I don't want to be doing this right now. I'm very, very busy. Anyway, I'm making it work.
Do you want to go?
Right. You guys owe me on this one.
Okay, so basically it's the voiceover is her talking to Nick saying like, you guys owe me. I'm very, very busy. And the words say when you're very, very busy with 400 meetings and don't have time for a podcast interview today. And it's a video of her basically at the pool drinking a cerveza, a Corona. And she says, very, very busy. I had to have a laugh after reading all your hysterical comments after my latest mishap on Viall Files. Thank you, Nick and team, for the warm welcome. Let's whip it up in beautiful Puerto Vallarta soon. And
you guys
I don't know
owe
why
me
the
on
comments
this
are not
one.
showing up here, but
We owe you.
Got my
I really want to see the comments because go to
you
post.
guys
Here
owe
we go.
me on this one.
Emily says classic
We owe you.
Victoria. Nick said something, never change Vicki. He said, never change Vicki. See, that's the thing. It's like you kind of have to laugh at her because she's so outrageous and so wild. Now, I'm going to say something else really fast. This was not on the agenda, but I think this is kind of an interesting conversation really fast because I was talking to a couple podcasters about this yesterday. We were talking about Lala and Teresa's interview. So on Give Them Lala, and then we're going to get into of course, the best episode of Salt Lake City. So Give Them Lala. Lala Kent had Teresa Giudice on her podcast yesterday. And I struggled. Okay. I struggled because I had to listen to it. Well, I didn't have to. I didn't listen to the entire. I listened to like 20 minutes of it. Just because I'm not interested in it. Like, no offense, but there's no show on TV that I'm watching that I have to listen to it for. Teresa's not on a show. I'm not watching House of Villains. I have no interest in watching Teresa for Jersey. Like, I don't believe she's coming back to Jersey in any way anytime soon. And I just listened to it because you guys said you have to listen to it. It's just really weird to listen. So it's an interesting interview because Lala Kent is obsessed with Teresa in it. And she really, really loves Teresa in the interview, which is something I just was surprised by. Like, I didn't know that they had that kind of relationship. But she said something, and I'm curious from you guys. I would love to know from your comments. She said, Teresa, you came into House of Villains, and I'm sure everyone knew who you were. But did you know who any of them were? Because you're a household name. And Teresa said, no, I didn't know who anyone was except Larsa, probably because she's in that Bravo world. So let me ask you guys, and this is kind of like the kind of the confusion that we had. What do you guys think? Do you think Teresa is a household name? And if you think Teresa Giudice, and when I say household, I don't mean just Bravo fans. I'm talking general America or the world household name, like Taylor Swift household name, Travis Kelce household name, Tom Cruise household name. Or do you believe that no housewife is a household name? See, I think there's some housewives that are household names. Like, I think Teresa is one. I think Bethany Frankel is one. I would argue to say that maybe even Lisa Vanderpump is one, or like Kyle Richards, people that are on cover of People magazine. Like, those kind of housewives are household names. Okay, so a lot of you guys are saying no. Cindy says, my husband has no idea who she is. It's tough. My house is definitely aware, but that's because my husband works in reality TV, so it's very hard for me to judge. My mom would have no idea who she is. But my mom's also like an immigrant from, like, she is first generation from Israel. Like, she's not, and she doesn't watch reality TV ever. She doesn't watch anything like that. She doesn't watch, but Teresa's been on Dancing with the Stars. She's been on House of Villains. She's been in national news. I mean, she went to prison. She's been on the front cover. She's an author. So, like, she's been on so much. So I feel like she is a household name. She's been on, like, CNN, probably. I mean, at this point, I feel like she's been on Larry King Live, even though he's dead. Yeah, because of jail. That's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like the jail is what made her a household name. When they commit crimes, they become household names, no? Lisa says, my husband knows her for her hairline. Nene Leakes could be a household name because of Glee and, like, her TV shows. Interesting. It's just a kind of, but do you think Bethany is a household name? What reality stars are household names? Donald Trump. Snooki? Is Snooki a household name? Flavor Flav. It's a good conversation. We should this is a great thing for the Doser Shopping Network. We should have a game, like a board game that we should create, where it's like it's a reality star game, right? It's like Taboo. Oh my gosh, I just came up with it. It's categories, okay? So you know how you have to you spin the thing and you get a letter, and then you get 60 seconds and you have to write categories, every single reality star with that letter. It's a great name. I mean, it's a great game. The Situation, you think, is a household name? Guess Who of celebrities. Guess Who of reality stars? Just reality stars. There's enough out there. That would be a great idea. Have they been on The Traitors? No. Oh my God, genius idea. Who's coming up with it? Put it on Dozer Shopping Network. Jeff Lewis, I think, is a household name. Andy Cohen. Andy Cohen to me is a household name. Okay, let's move it along to get into today's recap. And before we do that, let's talk about my favorite holiday gift ever, and that keeps my house quiet. What do you think it is? It lets my son play Fortnite without me having to hear him talk to all of his friends. Okay, let's talk about winning the holidays this year. If you're anything like me, finding a gift that kids will actually love and use, and let's be honest, gives you a little break too, is the ultimate score. And that's why Turtle Beach is my favorite favorite gift this year. And I'm saying that as a serious and maybe even more than Dame sometimes, because Dame is great sometimes when I'm upstairs alone. But when I'm downstairs having to cook and having to watch my TV shows on my phone with my AirPods, having to watch Girls Gone Wild, not Girls Gone Wild, but the documentary of Girls Gone Wild. I'm not a sicko. Okay. The Turtle Beach Stealth 700 Gen 3 headset is at the very top of my gift list this Christmas. And I'm obsessed. Why? Because the sound quality is insane. Whether it's gaming, streaming music, or even taking calls, everything comes through crystal clear and the comfort level is bananas. The headsets are so lightweight, cushy. My kids wear them for hours, no complaints. That means they're fully immersed in their world and I get to finally enjoy my world, catching up on my favorite reality shows. Double check. But wait, the headset doesn't just stop at comfort and quality. There's an 80-hour battery life. That means they don't have to annoy you constantly to get them to charge, and you can take them on vacations, on the plane. It's phenomenal. The Stealth 700 is constantly just like comes in clutch. Okay. It is really, honestly, it's lightweight and it's really easy on your ears. If you have sensitive ears, it's really nice. And it charges really quickly too. Even though it's 80 hours, it charges very fast. It also has a dual wireless crossplay system, so you can go quickly back and forth between different devices. There's also racing simulators, controllers, keyboards. There's so many gaming accessories. Turtle Beach has them all. It's always high quality without breaking the bank. And the good part is you can save cash too. So for a limited time, head over to turtlebeach.com and use promo code Daily Dose to get 10% off your entire order. That's 10% off your entire order, any gift for yourself or for your family or for your friends. It's going to be a total hit this Christmas or Hanukkah, whether you're buying it for someone else or treating yourself. So don't wait, skip the last minute shopping stress and get the perfect gift. Go to turtlebeach.com, get the gift using code Daily Dose. Trust me, this is a gift that will keep giving all year long. Happy holidays from me and from Turtle Beach. Also, by the way, today, guys, I want to shout out Wanda because she just gifted 5 Daily Dose of Donna memberships. And that reminds me, today, in just 2 hours, a little over 2 hours from right now, at 2 p.m. Pacific time, on Thursday, December 5th, we are celebrating Southern Charm's premiere date by having a members only today. Meaning, if you're a member here on YouTube, I am pushing past my post-traumatic stress disorder of my last YouTube members only, and we're going the distance, and we are going live here for a members only. That's where we really break down the barriers and we talk it all. Okay. We talk about everything. We use props galore. We get really deep and dirty, and we talk about it all. Okay. This is where I get into my most trouble. Okay. Todd is going to be here providing legal support. He's going to be here keeping me in check. My attorneys are going to be present. I'm going to have security from Meredith's bat mitzvah. It's going to be full. My full team is going to be here. Cybersecurity, everyone's going to be here. Sean, my tech guy, the whole world is going to be here. And it's at 2 p.m. today. If you are a member, you can join using the link below in my show notes, or there's a button on a desktop or a laptop. If you are not able to make it live, you can access it later. There you go. Okay, let's get into last night's episode of Daily Dose of Donna. Let's recap yesterday's Daily Dose of Donna. What would you guys do if all I did every episode was just recap yesterday's episode of my show? Can you imagine? I just had a recap of my show every day. We have to talk about last night's episode. Why was it so good? I mean, you agree with me that it was phenomenal, correct? Now, I don't want to say I told you so, but I'm going to say I told you so. Queen says she can never figure out how to join. There's literally a link in my show notes. Like it says to join the membership here. Click on this link. I don't know how to tell you other than that. It was so good, this episode, that it had all the, I guess it had everything that Real Housewives of New York doesn't. Right? It had everything that it doesn't. It had every single because it's not produced for the show. It's just naturally wild and inappropriate and wrong, and it's exactly what we need from the show. Of course, last week's episode was incredibly challenging to get through with Robert Jr., and we'll get into that a little bit later. And it was so emotional, and of course, all the drama around, the True Beverly Hills incident and finding out that Todd did an NSA background check on his wife, which is just completely normal. Todd. It was, now we're coming into the religious ceremony. And by the way, I'm planning right now my son's bar mitzvah. I wish I could throw a bat mitzvah or bar mitzvah just like this, because this is perfect. It's like 25 people. I mean, it was a very small little event. I'm sure they spent a lot of money because it looks like they closed an entire ski lodge. But compared to the thing that I'm throwing, kids 12, 13, they want a party. They want DJ. They want dancing. They want a whole event, lifting the chairs. They want a whole dinner. I mean, this looked like heaven to me. This is the kind of party I want. Now, one thing they're doing that we're not going to be doing at ours is they're all serving crazy amounts of drinks before the service. That's not something I've ever seen at a bar mitzvah, bat mitzvah, but power to them. They're all adults, right? Usually at kids' services, you do cocktails after the service. Usually, you sit down, you do the service with the rabbi, whatever, and then you go into cocktail hour. But, it's Meredith. Let her do whatever she wanted. Of course, they do the photos. We got to meet Meredith and Seth's older son, Reed. I've never met Reed before. Have we met Reed? Thought he was wonderful. So sweet, right? Like, what a beautiful family. I actually really, really appreciate Meredith and Seth's family. Without knowing a lot of them, once you realize that they're Schitt's Creek, like they really are David and like their whole relationship and everything is Schitt's Creek for the most part. It's hard to not think that way. They're a caricature. That family is a caricature of themselves. It's wonderful. But we get to see Meredith's mom and Meredith's sister, and it's very sweet. Okay. They're all taking pictures. Beautiful location. I can't tell if it's cold or hot. To me, it looks freezing, but everyone's in like these short dresses. We're seeing midriffs. We're not seeing a lot of coats. Very confused by the weather. It's April. I imagine for them, it's like kind of warming up, but there's snow everywhere. I'm very confused. I would be in a full fur coat. I would be like Whitney. She came in a fur coat. Now, Heather came with her daughter, Georgia. I believe I can't decide if this is her oldest daughter or not. Heather did not have a bad episode for me. She's had bad episodes in the past this season. Thank you, Katie. Katie's a new member. Welcome. Welcome, Katie. Katie is a new member. Katie's a new member. Katie's a new member. Heather did not have a bad episode this last night, in my opinion, but she did have a bad look, in my opinion. Heather she looks really nice in her confessionals, in my opinion. This one outfit that she's wearing, and like, look, we're Housewives fans. We're going to talk about the way they look. I didn't love her hair and her makeup and the outfit. It was kind of like Moo style. She looked like, how do I put it? She felt very like Dolly Parton, country star, Loretta Lynn. Something about it did not really necessarily work for me. It didn't connect with me. But they started talking about espresso martinis. She's drinking again after the last time. They did a flashback of the last time she drank, which was that infamous Palm Springs. I had to close my eyes because I thought they were going to show her puking in the bus again. I couldn't handle that. That freaked me out. Then she was talking about, whatever. So then Bronwyn shows up. Now, Bronwyn, someone that's very into fashion, was not dressed appropriately for a bat mitzvah. But you guys know, I'm not a fan of Bronwyn. I'm not hiding that. Okay. And I won't hide it. I really, truly did not. I can't hide it anymore. I can't hide this feeling anymore. Okay. I can't fight this feeling anymore. Bronwyn shows up in a little bralette for a bat mitzvah. I find it odd, but whatever. With she's going to a Taylor Swift concert is all I can say. I mean, she's got diamonds and God knows what all over her face. Obviously, Whitney and her have this weirdness because of something that went down at the True Beverly Hills luncheon. But to be honest, I can't wrap my head around Whitney and her drama with anyone anymore. Because when Whitney speaks, my brain goes like hum. Does anyone else feel that way about Whitney? I can't grasp at her arguments anymore. Ever since the Alibaba of it this season, nothing is, I can't grasp. So Whitney's explaining to Brittany about her nails. They're talking nails, and Lisa makes a comment about bridge and tunnel, which is so Lisa. Look, you can't make me hate Lisa. I understand a lot of you guys don't like Lisa Barlow. It won't happen for me. And we can't explain these things. And this is the nice thing about these housewives recaps on different shows. There will be shows where people will hate Lisa Barlow. And I will hate a lot of things that Lisa Barlow does. Trust me, there's certain things that Lisa Barlow does where I'm like, girl, no. But I just can't hate her. And I struggle with this sometimes with my audience because a lot of you guys hate her. But I can't. And I don't know why. Maybe because she reminds me of someone I know. I don't know why I can't hate Lisa Barlow, even when she says things that make me want to cringe, die, shrivel, and fall over and go under the snow. I still can't dislike her. Now, why do they keep trying to push Mazel on us? This is also a confusing situation for us. I've accepted Brittany as part of the cast. In fact, I believe I like Brittany. In fact, Brittany may be up there as one of my faves now, which turns me because at the beginning of these new housewives, remember, I was like, Brittany, no, I don't want Brittany. I love Bronwyn. Look how the tides turned. Bronwyn, please leave. Bronwyn, there's the door, Bronwyn Newport. Doesn't work as well as Bador. But Brittany shooting herself up. I mean, I would like to walk into a room and go, and twist around. Can you imagine walking into a room and doing a little twirl? I mean, she's weird. The best kind of weird for housewives. Mazel, who is she sleeping with at Bravo? Why is she there? Why? Why is she there? I don't get it. What made her come to this show and why is she like, it's confusing to me also. Like, why? Okay. Maddie says, I'm going to get you to disagree. I'm going to disagree with you. I'm going to get you to hate Lisa. I would love to. Remember, we love to disagree on the show. This is not a show where you guys all have to agree with me. I am with you. Brittany's TikToks, see, we're going to talk about IRL behavior versus show behavior in a little bit because I have a whole thesis planned about Brittany and Bronwyn IRL versus show and how I think it's going to change the game about the audience and how they like them. Okay. Tanya says, comma, Donna. What am I calling? Am I stressed? Comma. Okay. So Maylene needs to comma. She's not doing anything, but she's annoying me. Just kidding. She's beautiful, though. So she shows up. Everyone's showing up. Whitney shows up with Sean. Who knew? I mean, not Whitney. That would be weird. Angie shows up. Who knew that Angie and her, gosh, one of you guys, Heather, I believe, shared it somewhere on Facebook somewhere that that Angie looks like that cookie. It's that Palmieri cookie. You know that cookie that's like a wafer cookie in her confessional? It's so funny. So Bronwyn, when she goes back to looking like, the Lion King with her orange and red and the red lines on her eyes, she says, I am not in a good place with Angie or Meredith because Angie told me to shut the F up and we don't have a lot to say with each other. And I'm very upset with Angie. And, whatever. And, I really do not appreciate Angie. And and like I said, I think Bronwyn is coming in way too hot to trot this season, big time. Like the first couple of seasons, I liked her. And I mean, first couple episodes. And now I feel like she's very big on her britches. Is that what you say? Like too big? Virginia. Welcome, Virginia. New member. Shalom. Okay, in this episode, everything is going to be said with a Jewish reference. Okay, in the spirit of Meredith. So Bronwyn is just too high on her high horse. Now, Bronwyn, there's so much about Bronwyn that got me last night. But all of a sudden, Bronwyn decides that she's going to lower herself to the level of hanging out with Brittany and Maylee multiple times. And she even said it a couple times. Did you guys notice that? She's standing, hanging out with Brittany and Maylee, two women who she would never, ever put herself on the level of, two women that she thinks are like low hanging fruit. She'll even say it later in the episode, but she's hanging out with them because none of the other girls want to talk to her. She's already started shit with Whitney. She started shit with Heather. Now she started shit with Angie, which means she started shit with Mary. Mary's not even there, but Mary doesn't like her because she started shit with Angie. Meredith is not there, and Meredith doesn't even really like her, but Meredith is not there because Meredith is off with, taking the. No, I think she's actually okay with Meredith right now. She's already got like some shit with Lisa. So like she's not good with a lot of these women. And my guess is Bronwyn doesn't have a lot of girlfriends. I'm just putting it out there. I don't think Bronwyn's a girl's girl. Just putting it out there. Okay. Okay. So, and I don't like Bronwyn's vibe of like, you can tell that she doesn't have those girls in her back. So now she's hanging out with like the B level in her mind. She thinks Brittany, and she thinks that Maylee are like the B girls. So they're asking where's Mary, and Angie's kind of covering for Mary, but Angie had sat with Mary at her house in a flashback, and she didn't pry about what's going on. So Mary is not sharing really what's going on with Robert Jr. yet with any of these girls. So then this is when Bronwyn's having a conversation with Brittany, which comes up later, where she brings up the three men where Angie had said in a fight with Brittany, look, you're confusing to me. You say that like you're a good girl, but you're also dating three guys, or you're with three guys. And that's where Brittany's like, that's so mean for her to say to me. It's so sensitive to me knowing my religion. Like, obviously you're saying that, I'm doing this, and clearly you're obviously saying this about me, when in reality, you're probably doing that with Sean. So essentially Brittany's kind of throwing a bomb out there saying, you're calling me a slut, but you're probably a slut with Sean. Okay. Now Brittany's like, yeah, well, she told me to shut the F up 100 times. I don't remember that. Should we go back and watch the tapes? Obviously, we didn't see the uncut footage, but did Angie really tell Bronwyn to shut the F up 100 times? How many times do you think she really said it? I saw it once or twice. She said, everyone should shut the F up, and you should shut the F up. Did she say it that many more times? Anyone? Like, I'm confused why Bronwyn thought she said it to her so many times. I mean, obviously we don't watch that many times, but okay. And then, of course, Bronwyn's already starting. Well, Sean is here, and I don't know if he knows that she's married to Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. And it's weird that Bronwyn's saying that, because literally Todd over here has no idea clearly that he's married to Bronwyn, who clearly Todd is like, I don't like the way that you are around these girls. She's calling out Sean when her own husband doesn't like the way she is when she's around these girls. And he even said, I've never seen you act that way. That's actually kind of the craziest part, is Bronwyn is calling out Angie for being for the exact same issue that she has in her own marriage. If anyone's not picking up what I'm seeing with Bronwyn, well, I mean, listen, we all have the right to our own opinions, but I feel like I am taking crazy pills when I talk to people that are like, what are you talking about? Bronwyn's so wonderful and sweet and perfect and amazing and lovely. Because I feel like I'm taking crazy pills, because I feel like I'm seeing right through it. Maybe a lot of you guys are starting to pick up on it. I saw Queens of Bravo is starting to pick up on it, which I'm like, yes, because later on she showed her true colors. Now, of course, Meredith makes her grand entrance on a chariot, which was so cute. I mean, listen, it's amazing. Heather is hammered. You can tell it. Heather's like, Meredith. She's screaming, Meredith. And it's actually really cute. And, you know, Bronwyn with her faces, she's like, oh, a chariot, Meredith. Bronwyn has such like, she has RBF. That's what it is. It's not RBF. It's judge face. If you guys are watching on the video, you may want to, or you're not watching on video, you need to kind of maybe pop on over for this face. It's this face. She makes a judge face that bugs me. It's like she doesn't feel genuinely happy for other people. She's judgy. So anyway, everyone's coming over and saying hi to Meredith. She looks beautiful. Everyone slowly comes into the I was going to say the temple, but it's not. It's just a room, and it's very nice. Everyone comes in with their cocktails, which I found weird because like, where are you sitting them? But I guess it's like a wedding. Now, this rabbi comes and starts the service, and she does the service, right? And so, of course, it's a beautiful, anyone that's gone to a bar mitzvah, bat mitzvah, it's a beautiful event. It's wonderful. I think it's nice that Meredith chose to do this. With her reasoning is because of the rising anti-Semitism. If you're Jewish, I think that you felt this very strongly. I think it was a beautiful moment with her family, watching her, you know, all the generations of her family that were there, and her husband, and wearing the same tefillah as her husband. It was like a nice moment. I thought it was beautiful. And the entire time doing it, and then Mary showing up. And let me tell you, when Mary showed up with the all black dress, which, looking through the window, did anyone else get a vibe of Elphaba at the end of like Defying Gravity moment? Like, I don't know why there was such a moment when she was like, so if you care to find me, look to the western sky. All I saw in that moment was Mary looking through that glass, like Elphaba looking in the land of Oz. That's all I saw. Oh my God, I died. I was laughing so hard at Mary in that moment. It was the best experience it was the best moment. Mary gets drunk. Someone needs to do, maybe I need to do this, a reel where they take the music of Defying Gravity of Mary going through. And no one else in all of Oz, no wicked, whatever was, is ever gonna break. And then she opens the door. I mean, they drop Mary off during the service, and production is so savage because you know there were people outside filming, and no one said, hey, the door's that way. They just let this woman walk through every window where the service was. Like, she's in all the photos, she's in all the video. You know they're taking video and photos, like professional video and photos. And Michelle says, Donna, I'm suing you for the hot coffee that just went into my lungs when you sang that. I mean, really, that's literally what I thought when she was looking. She was, we need to like find a way to do this. It was so amazing. She was like as if, you know, Meredith was Glinda getting like the wicked witch. She was getting like the you know, the wand, and all of Oz was watching, and she's like, she is the good witch. And then Elphaba was in the back, and like the wizard was the rabbi. It was phenomenal. It was the best like scene ever. It was the best way to kind of break up this emotional like rabbi scene about the beautiful moment. Todd, of course, had his kippah on. Good for Todd. Is Todd Jewish? I loved how Todd was wearing a kippah. Seth was crying with his hot pink kippah. It was a moment that I will never forget. And Mary's like, why is the windows black? Why aren't they letting me in? the wizard. I'm not that girl. I mean, it was, if you don't know what I'm talking about, this is a moment. I'm going to sing it for you guys. I think we need a visual with this. And of course I can't actually play the scene because I will get copyright, but oh my God, it was so funny. It was like the comedic break that we all needed in the moment, you know? Mary is just so good. Mary's like, my friend texted me and she said Mary got a full lobotomy this season. Like, she became a new person this season. I don't know what meds she's on. I don't know what therapy she got, but she became an absolute new person this season. It was the most amazing thing ever. Don't you guys agree? She really is an absolute new person. It's really phenomenal to watch her. Even the way that she talked to Meredith later, and we'll get into that in just a second, it was amazing. Ah. Okay. Here we go. So if you care to find me, look to the western sky. Everyone deserves a chance to fly. And if I'm flying solo, at least I'm flying free. Take a message back from me. I'll tell them how I will defying gravity. And then we are defying. It's so good. It's so good. It was meant for the song. Okay, I'll work on it later. I'll do some editing later when I have time. Okay. I really need like a full-time editor to work on these things with me, with my stupid brain. Okay, we're going to move on. I will get a comment later like, Donna, your jokes aren't funny. I can't believe you think you're funny. And the truth is, I also sometimes question myself. Imagine Lance. He has to live with this shit. So anyway, Meredith does a beautiful scene about how she feels, so connected, and it's a beautiful thing. And then her kids come up, and I loved every second of it. I love a family scene. Do you think Meredith and Seth are really in love? I actually do. I find them like a beautiful, beautiful scene in love. And then they go off and eat. Now, this is when they go into the other room to eat, and Brittany goes, "Oh." She does a twist, and Seth goes, "If you love capers, you're going to love caviar." And I've never heard anyone say that. Has anyone connected caviar to capers? Like, caviar is salty, but capers are salty. I actually don't believe caviar tastes like like, that's like saying if you like sushi, you are going to like anchovies. Does anyone feel the connection in any way between caviar and capers? That was a strange thing. Dalton Kid says no, but it was actually the nicest way to introduce someone to caviar that I've ever heard on a housewife show. Okay, I'll take it. Caviar is not pickled. Yeah, it's like a very different kind of a taste. I guess it's like, I would say if you like salt, I would say if you like, I don't know what I would say if you like. Interesting. So then they go to, they're in the party and they're all chatting, and, Angie and everyone's kind of talking. Everyone's enjoying themselves. Mary and Meredith, kind of talk. And I think that was nice. Mary and Meredith talk, and they basically apologize. Mary says, "Look, I'm so sorry about everything that happened." Meredith says, "I'm sorry too." Mary says, "No one's ever walked out of my house that way." Meredith says, I felt like you kicked me out. Now, Mary never kicked her out. If you rewatch that scene, I think Meredith is a very sensitive woman, personally. I think she's overly sensitive. I think she took it way too personally. But the nice thing about this was Mary was really smart in this moment. And we don't see this a lot in Housewives. Mary was like, this is your night. I'm not going to fight with you. I love you. I'm sorry. I never wanted to hurt your feelings. I've got your back and I love you. Like, what? Is it what's going on with Robert Jr. that is turning her? She became so kind and sweet and smart here. And she's like, I know. I hear you. I'm sorry. I love you. The fact that they were able to make up so well here is making me sad that they're fighting in real life and like throwing each other these digs at Bravo Fan Fest, because I thought it was so cute and so sweet that they connected. We see some scenes with the parents and the brothers. We saw this weird Heather introducing the plastic surgeon. Her plastic surgeon. Did anyone else Google him? Now I'm like curious about his prices and stuff. So then we have a scene where, you know, Bronwyn and Todd are kind of talking, and Angie basically says, Bronwyn, can I talk to you? And she pulls Bronwyn aside, and Bronwyn is just awkward as F again. And she pulls her aside, and oh my God, it's so funny. Billy just said capers, sardines, caviar, anchovies with like a gross face. And honestly, it's every single thing I like to eat. You guys would die if you saw my palate. This may be the thing that makes you want to cancel me. Over everything, my palate may want you like add to that, add herring, add lox, add like I am Eastern European through and through. I want the weird pâtés, like bring it on. I grew up eating all of that stuff. Like I love it all. Okay. So Angie pulls Bronwyn aside, and Angie basically says, you know, do you think we can talk? And Bronwyn's like, yeah, as long as I get an apology out of whatever you want to say, which is a little bit intense, by the way. And I think if Bronwyn would have just said to Angie, yeah, let's talk, and just like made it a normal conversation, I think it would have been fine. Think about this. Had Bronwyn just said, yeah, let's talk. And then Angie could have said, hey, look, sorry about the way that it went down the other day. You know, I don't understand why, It would have been fine. The problem with Bronwyn is she comes in so guns a-blazing that it puts everyone on defense right immediately. Because immediately she's going to Angie. Angie's the one that comes to her and says, can we talk? Which is already hard enough for someone. So she's obviously trying to open the door. But Bronwyn immediately to say, yeah, you better owe me an apology, makes the other person feel very small, which then makes the other person want to be like, whoa, Angie already is short. And I know that you're going to think that's weird, but she's also like that as a short girl myself. Bronwyn's a lot taller. You already feel small and you need to like stand up stronger and be bigger when you have a tall person coming down on you. I swear to God, that's an actual real thing. As a short person myself, I do think that that's like a real thing. Okay. Billy says that's a deal breaker. I'm following right now. I know it was the sardines. I know the sardines are it's the reason that you guys get me. Like, trust me, there's going to be a lot of negative threads about me after the sardine comment. Not only am I Jewish, but I also like sardines. It's like a big reason for cancellation. Okay. So then Angie goes, well, yeah, I was thinking the same. Bronwyn's panties get twisted in a bunch and go into fire. You think I owe you an apology? And Angie goes, yeah, you know, things got heated and it definitely ended on a bad note. Bronwyn's face looks like she smelled really, really bad sardines. Bronwyn's face looks like anchovies got smeared on her. Actually, her face looks like she did not clean her own dog poop. Maybe she didn't. This is Bronwyn's face. Funny. We see that face a lot. You can see. Okay. Angie says it definitely ended on a bad note. And Angie says, I feel like you twisted something that I said. And then that's when Braun went, did I twist the 7,000 times you told me to shut the F up? And she's not saying F, obviously. She says, shut the fuck up. And that's also, by the way, a twist because 7,000 times, really? And then Angie says, no, I said it. And that's when Bronwyn starts, you know how telling someone to shut the F up that many times is out of line. And until I get an apology from you, there is nothing further for us to say. So do whatever the F you want, Ange, but not with me. So Angie says, I am sorry. Do you hear those words, guys? I am sorry. I told you to shut the F up. And Bronwyn says, Angie, that's not an apology. It's giving Kyle Richards. It's giving Kyle Richards next week. It's giving Kyle Richards when Dorit apologizes for the joke at BravoCon, and then Kyle says that's not a genuine apology. Do not ask an apology of someone and then have them say, I'm sorry, and then say that's not an apology. Do you want them to, what do you want them to do? Just tell me you're sorry. I'm sorry. No, that's not an apology. Okay, I'm sorry. No, that's not an apology. I'm sorry. No, that's not an apology. I'm sorry. No, that's not an apology. Oh, sorry. Here's a $4 million necklace. Ah, thanks. You apologize. Like, what the fuck do you want, Bronwyn? People like this annoy me beyond. Remember, I just experienced that. Remember? Remember my PTSD over my YouTube members only? I just experienced that. When you say I'm sorry, it's not good enough. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's not good enough. You can't say sorry like that. You have to say it like this. I'm sorry. Sometimes there's just people that will never hear your I'm sorry the way that they wanted to. But that's not about you. That's about them. I really can't handle people like this. There's certain people that are just never going to be able to accept your apology. But that's a them problem. That's like a person that doesn't want to. They don't want to accept an apology. They want to be mad at you. Like Bronwyn wanted to have an anger, to be angry with Angie. She didn't want to make up with Angie. That's why she started the conversation that way. She wanted to have shit. She didn't want to get along with her. She wanted the drama. And that to me is a problem. So Bronwyn's like, you know what? I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. Doing what? Angie just said, I'm sorry. That's exactly what she wanted. So I'm not doing this. And Angie's like, why are you walking away? That's just cheap. Like, stay here, listen. And now Bronwyn's like, oh, I'm cheap? My $4 million. Did you see my private plane? Have you met Todd? Palm Pilot. Cheap? My deodorant is worth $100 per use. Cheap. Excuse me. I'm rich, bitch. And then Angie goes, I didn't call you cheap. I said it's the easy way out is to walk away. And then Angie says in a confessional, like, if you're asking for an apology, then you should learn how to take it. And then Angie says, you put me in a bad position. Bronwyn goes, I didn't. Angie says, you tried to make things better between Lisa and Whitney. You tried to make it better. And then, of course, Bronwyn goes, I am not going to do this. I'm leaving. And then Angie says, you're inserting yourself in the conversation, which is true. Bronwyn loves to insert her way into every single other person's business. She did it again later. And then Bronwyn said, that's not true. You told her that she's screwing 10 guys at once, Angie. Guys, whoever said 10 guys? Only Bronwyn. No one else said 10 guys. Angie said 3 guys. Like, rewind the tape. These housewives are very good usually at recalling facts. For some reason, these girls are like continuously bringing up the 10 guys. No one said 10 guys. And so Angie said, I didn't say 10. Bronwyn said, Brittany is saying 10. Okay, so Brittany is saying that it was 10. And so of course Angie's like, do you think you're being funny? Like, you keep coming with these jabs. And so I love how the editing of the show, they keep going around and like showing people's reactions to probably other conversations. Like, they keep showing, you know, Lisa going over and looking, or the bartender going like this, or the waiter going, and you know, it has nothing to do with our conversation, but I love how they're just setting it up to show that it's this big scene. And Brittany's like, I'm being honest. Your language was out of control. Okay, which is so crazy coming from Bronwyn. Because Bronwyn is, and always has been, probably just like a normal woman who uses language. So this is the thing about Bronwyn. She plays this card of being like demure and perfect and wonderful and together and wonderful for Toddy. Okay, for hot Toddy over here. But in reality, she's absolutely just like these other girls, if not worse, writing the hot dick or whatever she said. And so, of course, then Angie's like pulling it out exactly like we all watch. She's like, I am not using worse language than any of us, including you. How you yelled about riding your dick like it's my job and this and that. And of course, we're seeing flashbacks. I mean, the producers are throwing Bronwyn under the bus multiple times with the flashbacks. And so she's basically, Angie's saying, like, you're using cross language just as much. So if you're saying the word F offends you when you're saying the word D constantly, so I don't believe that the entire party is watching them. I think that producers are showing these things, but you even see Whitney just off the side and she's not even watching. I don't think they're being that loud. Now Todd comes over because Todd's probably paying attention to his wife and seeing his wife's body language and saying, I think it's time for another drink, right? He's trying to kind of calm the situation. Todd is coming in to trying to calm Todd Steen. Toddy Le. Aw, Toddberg. My little Toddberg. Todd is coming in and he decides that he wants to, you know, calm it down. And he says, I think it's time for another drink, time to take a break. And he even is trying to be sweet over to Angie. Would you like another drink? Because he's a kind man. Listen, he's not made for TV and he's not made for housewives, but it seems like he's a polite man. And he says, would you like another drink? And Bronwyn is, you don't need to get someone who calls me a liar a drink. I don't think she ever said you're a liar. Did she call Bronwyn a liar now? Like, this is not a thing. Okay. And you can't dare to look me in the face and apologize to me. And Angie's like, I just told you I'm sorry. So you want another bullshit apology? Okay, fine. I don't need, like, she is wildly inappropriate. She totally went over the top to Angie. Angie started small and Brittany created world war out of that conversation, in my opinion. So they go over to the bartender. And this is a moment where you see the fakest moments of Bronwyn ever. Because Todd is like, I need you to calm down. What I need you to do is like, I'm going to give you a minute. I'm going to need you to calm down. You're, you know, whatever. And you know, Bronwyn's like, I appreciate you being nice to them, but I hear you sticking up for them. And I don't like what I'm hearing. And the bartender's like, can I give you anything? Yes. Can I have an espresso martini? Thanks, hun. Thanks. And she's an actress, like through and through. I'm just not into it. I'm really, the kippa fell. Todd, I'm going to blame your shaggy hair. You need a cut. He has slutty hair. He has a high count hair. So, So Angie's like holding it together, and Sean comes over and she even says to Mary, like, do you do exorcism? She's trying to keep it together, but you can tell she's like a little rattled by that conversation. And this is kind of like the thing that's like kind of setting her off. And obviously it's kind of like it's lifting the bar to, so this episode is already getting to a place where like, whoa, this is crazy. And it only has just really started to escalate. So of course, then there's a conversation, there's little conversations. There's a conversation between Whitney and Loretta Lynn over there. I have no idea if Loretta Lynn looks like Heather, but I feel every time I see Heather in this episode, I feel like she looks like a country star. So there's a scene between Whitney and Heather, but like again, every time I see Whitney, it's just not interesting to me whatsoever. They're talking about how Bronwyn tried to like ruin their relationship, but there's no need for damage control. They're fine. I think Whitney needs to be off the show. I find her incredibly boring. Alibaba was the final nail in the coffin. And she, according to the seating chart, she got last seat on the couch for today's reunion filming, and I think that that's a sign she's out. Okay. Bronwyn is now standing once again with the B list. She's with Brittany and Maylee. She takes a picture with them, a selfie. It's the most uncomfortable looking selfie ever. This one. And she says, oh, how the tables of friendships turn. And she actually says out loud, who knew I'd be friends with you two? If that's not a bitchy comment, I would like to know what is. Basically, she's saying, you guys are losers. Why am I hanging out with you? You're not like the stars of this show. And trust me, she doesn't hold on to these friendships. Her friendship with Brittany lasted 14 seconds. She hates Brittany, and we find that out in the after show. And also, she was just on Nick Viall. She taped it 2 weeks ago, and she said, me and Brittany don't belong in the same sentence. I'm sorry, why are you so much better than her? The only difference between the two of you is that you're married to a rich man. Seriously, why? I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I find her incredibly condescending and rude. And I'll get into the after show in just a second, what she said about Brittany, because I hated it. So Brittany says, so now that we're newly friends, like Brittany thinks she has a bestie all of a sudden. She even says, yay, Bronwyn and I are finally friends. I mean, poor Brittany. She's like a little bit like, hello. But all the girls kind of walk over to the other table, and Bronwyn is a little pissy, and they all start talking to Angie, and Angie is, Bronwyn even comes over to, Brittany even comes over to Bronwyn and puts her arm around her. I mean, this was like, I felt like, this is a bat mitzvah. Now we're seriously watching 13-year-old girls. Like, it was crazy. This is a crazy moment. And so Angie's basically calling out Bronwyn and saying, Bronwyn said this and that. And then Brittany is basically saying, I think you're saying things just to be dramatic. And Angie's like, no, I'm not. And Brittany says, no, you basically just called me a slut when you were saying that sentence. And out of nowhere, Brittany decides, because Angie says, I don't say the word slut, okay? I was saying that you have multiple boyfriends. Brittany said, you said I have 10 boyfriends. Angie said, I never said 10. And out of nowhere, freaking Bronwyn, who is the shit stirrer, meanwhile, what's her name? What's her name on New York? I forgot her name because she's so irrelevant in my life. Bryn is like, I have carpal tunnel because I stir the fucking pot so much. She doesn't have carpal tunnel. Give Bronwyn carpal tunnel because she's the shit stirrer, okay? She's the one that stirs the pot. She decides, I don't even like you, Angie, but I hate Brittany so much, my new best friend over here, that I'm going to be on your side for 1 second and tell you that she thinks you called her a slut because you're one. Guys, Bronwyn started World War with that comment. Her newfound best friend, who just literally trusted her with her life, who thought she had a compadre right there, put her arm around her, thought she was like the popular girl. Now she's best friends with the $4 million necklace holder. She thinks she's going to be on the PJ and get invited to Palm Springs. All of a sudden got thrown under the bus so fast. by Bronwyn. It was wild to watch in real time. Bronwyn has no loyalty. She's not a girl's girl. She has no friends. I stand by it. In 2 seconds, Angie explodes. Wait, what? She says. And Bronwyn's like, ordinarily, I'd be happy to see Angie, but I'm tired of Brittany's little shtick of running her mouth and being like, poor me, I'm such a victim. Somebody call me a slut. Somebody bought me wine. Like, I can't deal with it anymore. Bronwyn, what? You were just taking selfies with her. She's all you got left. Why are you throwing her under the bus now? It's so crazy. So that's when it started. Now, Angie all of a sudden is like, you think I'm a slut? So, guys, who used the word slut here? Who used the word slut? Brittany used the word slut. She used the word slut first to say, Angie, you think I'm a slut. Angie said, I don't use that word. I've never used that word since 1990. Bronwyn said, she thinks you're a slut because she thinks she thinks you think she's a slut because she thinks you're one. All of a sudden, the word slut and slut and slut and slut is going everywhere. And Angie never started the word slut. But guess who gets in trouble? This is crazy, crazy shit that's happening, right? So all of a sudden, Angie's like, you think I'm a slut? Bronwyn goes, I gave her a solid 5 minutes of being her friend. Didn't work for me. Then Angie goes off. Yeah, I think that your hair has a high body count. Notice I'm wearing my hair as tight to my scalp as possible. Because basically she's saying if you look like Peg Bundy, you have a high body count. Todd is sleeping with 400 women right now. His body count is high. The higher to God, the more your body count. Okay? The higher the hair, that's what I mean. The higher the hair, the higher your body count. So she says, your outfit, your hair, it looks a little pornish. Your hair is slutty. She's fighting back. She didn't start by throwing the punches. And Lisa's peeing her pants. She's laughing her ass off. But I can understand that Brittany's getting her feelings hurt a little bit. But this is truly Angie fighting back because it really came at Angie first. Angie goes, I am Mother. I am dressed like Mother. Now, Brittany doesn't know how to fight back for this. So Brittany's getting really made fun of. And I understand poor Brittany. She is hurt. And I do feel bad for Brittany because it is mean. But Bronwyn, with her faces, I wanted to take an egg and throw it in her face, to be 100% honest. Meanwhile, Seth and Meredith are over there licking faces, drinking vodka shots off their ice luge. So poor Brittany is like crying. She's like, I want to leave. Like, I can't. And Brooks is comforting her outside, thought it was the sweetest thing. Everyone's like, oh my God, she called you a slut? She said you have slutty vibes. Now, the next thing that happens is that it comes into Meredith's attention and Meredith hears about this. And Meredith is like, oh, what? Alibaba, what? Alibaba, what? She said, what? And Bronwyn is loving every second of this. Okay? Bronwyn set the fire and got exactly what she wanted out of this night. Because Bronwyn hates Angie and started the fire trying to get Angie riled up. I swear it's like she knew this was going to happen. And she made Angie look like the bad girl. But meanwhile, Lisa went to Brittany and she goes, listen, I'm so sorry she said that. Although you could use the Kerastase treatment. And if Lisa doesn't get a brand deal from Kerastase after this, then where is Kerastase when we need them? TikTok? Get on there. Kerastase brand manager better immediately be going to, I love it. I mean, we need some sort of situation. Thermique or whatever it's called. Meredith is like, you called her a slut. A slut. Angie. Security. I want her. You can leave. I want her out. Now, this was a lot. Okay. All of a sudden, Maui from Moana comes on over. 2 guys come on over in front of the entire party. I felt really bad for Angie. No one wants to get kicked out of a party. This was real embarrassing. Really embarrassing. And Angie didn't deserve it. Although Angie did get a little bit heightened and couldn't stop. It was a little bit of a wild moment, but Meredith was dying to get Angie out of there. She says, I've been slut shamed by Angie. I can't handle this slut shaming in my female empowering bat mitzvah. I am a woman now and I will stand for women. And I am woman, hear me roar. No slut shaming at my bat mitzvah, Alibaba. Security, get this woman out of my house. And that is that. She's nasty and mean and I'm over it. And poor Angie. I mean, how uncomfortable. So, of course, she gets kicked out of the event. She throws a napkin. Lisa gives her a hug. It was uncomfortable to watch. And Bronwyn gets, once again, kind of unscathed with her pursed face and walks away from it. I have no idea where Todd is. I think Todd at this point is already home with his feet up eating a Kit Kat. He's like, I don't want to be part of this in any way. But meanwhile, it's so funny because before all this, we've already planned a group trip to Puerto Vallarta. I hope Vicky's there. So I'm so excited for next week. I mean, obviously it's an amazing episode, but the after show was very telling about Bronwyn's issues with Brittany. And I watched one clip that I may have to just show you guys, this one clip, and then we'll call it for today. But BravoTV.com always has these really, really good after show moments. And if you watch them, you'll start to see kind of like really good insight on different things about what they're saying. And so I'm going to play it for you guys after the ad finishes. But Brittany and Bronwyn are not friends. And Bronwyn really doesn't like Brittany. And why doesn't she like Brittany? You guys are going to be really surprised why. I actually find it really telling why she doesn't. I think there's a little bit of jealousy, to be 100% honest, but none of it actually really makes sense. I just think that from in real life personality, I think Brittany, here it is. I think Brittany is actually going to end up being more popular with her online personality than Bronwyn. Check it out.
Not here for Brittany. I'd like to learn something about Brittany that didn't feel unhinged.
Wait, excuse me?
Are you in love with him or are you in love with Osmond?
I think you should worry about your own marriage, Bronwyn.
Brittany told me earlier she thinks you called her a slut because you were pregnant.
Wait, what? Bronwyn had it out for me.
I just think she didn't like you probably because of other people's opinions of you.
I mean, at the ropes chorus, I was totally cold shouldering her. I wouldn't even look at her because of something that had happened before we even started hanging out.
Actually, in my first lunch with her, I knew she didn't like you because she thought you lied about being on Broadway.
Right.
Okay, let's get right into it. So I am new in the Broadway world. I just produced my first show and I have 2 more coming out next season. So I'm not an expert, but I can definitely tell you in my very short-lived Broadway experience, I have not come across Brittany's name in a Broadway capacity. I know she tells people that.
Oh, she's claimed Broadway?
Very much so. And I don't believe the word accoladed is a real word either. I know she uses that in her bio. That is a made-up word. I would love to know what those accolades are.
You know, and I've supported local theater here my entire life, and I've never seen her perform, but I don't go to anything in Provo. So
Yeah, I don't watch Mormon movies, I guess. I did not know who she was.
Girl, you can Google it.
like-
In fact, one of Andy Cohen's best friends, he and I were in the same Broadway show together. Second National Broadway tour of Miss Saigon.
I can't sing, and everyone's seen me dance. It's awful. So I'm not saying I'm a better performer than Brittany, but I think you should be proud of what you've done and not exaggerate it. So if Brittany was in a touring production or a high school production or sings in her shower, then she should just keep it to that. She doesn't need to say she was on Broadway if she wasn't.
were Donnie and Marie on Broadway ever?
Oh,
Because
that
maybe
I
she's
don't
like
know.
taking on.
Maybe,
I don't know.
maybe she's marrying into it.
Yes.
Is that, can you marry into a Broadway
I
career?
don't think so, but you know.
I know you can buy into one. That's how I got myself into producing, is you pay for the production.
You know, she told me off camera that she knows that I did Broadway.
But that's like a lie because
And
she's
then I-
vehement with me that you
Right.
never did. Her friend told you.
Right.
You like danced in some local stuff and sang in some local stuff.
Okay, I'm just going to be very clear. The shade for me is the exaggerating. I think she's probably a great performer. She's probably a great singer. I mean, she's definitely in that world. I just don't think she's in that world to the level she would like to tell everyone she is. But Brittany, call me. I actually do produce Broadway shows, and maybe you could try out for me.
I
Come
was
to my
just gonna
house.
say,
Come
maybe-
audition for me. It's
maybe
not going
she
to go
should
well for
start
her. I
being
should
nice
offer
to
her
you.
that. She'd actually be better doing it with cold for someone else than me.
Brahmin lies. I mean, she's got busted in her lies. And I think that that's really
She's
embarrassing.
used to not being.
She's used to not being held
having a
accountable.
camera on her where you can say
Yes.
certain things.
And you can rewind. I just don't know why she targets me with these lies.
And I think it was like there's a lot of misconceptions around what happened at my Bezos party on the couch with
Mhm.
you, Mary, and Bronwyn. And like what was said, because I was told you said Mary was poor and that never happened.
Right.
You said you grew up poor.
Right. I was,
Yeah.
and like, yes, I feel like I put my foot in my mouth a little bit.
What was just a misintent. And I think
Yeah.
you'll never do that again.
No, I won't. But, I was absolutely on Broadway.
Just learn who you can be vulnerable with and who you can't.
Yes. And I learned that the very hard way. But hey, I'm still here, bitch. So there you go.
I like Brittany. I think Brittany's real. And there's a authenticity to Brittany that we're not seeing with Bronwyn. At least I'm not seeing with Bronwyn. And that's what sticks as a housewife. Same with Lisa Barlow and Angie. It's like interesting. Bronwyn's gonna get found out real fast with the audience. Watch. Another thing really fast is that when she was saying I did a play with Andy Cohen's best friend, a Broadway play on Miss Saigon, that's John Hill. So she's not lying. Brittany has been on Broadway. So bet Bronwyn feels like a big old idiot calling Brittany out for being a liar when she did a Broadway play with John Hill. Okay. Love you guys. Appreciate you. A supersized episode every single day this week. What is going on? It's almost like I should get paid. Just kidding. I'll see you guys at 2 p.m. Pacific time, 5 p.m. Eastern time today, if you're a member. Bye.